Okay, I needed to do a follow-up. I had mentioned when I put this gear on her, I was going to talk about the what was significant with that attack where it is. So this is like a part 2 amendment or follow-up, I guess you would say, to my video that I just posted regarding Talisha and where she's good and what she was released for and all that stuff. So let's say you want to use her as a bosser. Is she capable of being a good bosser? Yes. Is she going to be the best? No, not at all. I used her in Xanaduce. If I take Pansy out and I use her instead, okay, it states that her skills affect a small area, and I thought, interesting, small range 9 times. That's a 27-second stun if you perk it. I'm sorry, it's an 18-second stun. If you perk it with the whatever, the S1 light doesn't actually affect this. It affects the first version, the Radiance of Scimitas, or Scimitas, however you say that. But anyway, her dark version or whatever, the Dance of Lubery, however you want to address this. What does it say her forms are? Oh, sorry, it's like Juno. So there's Light of Lubery, and then there's Radiance of Scimitas. Okay, so when she's in the Light of Lubery mode, she is going to do some incredible stun on Mountain. So she'd be an incredible support in Mountain, and I'm going to use her in Mountain just for the stun she brings. I've even thought about bringing her into Protan because that stun is so impressive. It may be able to keep him stun locked long enough where he's not firing his trident and clearing my buffs, and I could actually use Otherworldly in Protan on Cecilia without losing that. And she's going to be amping damage against the boss with her unique weapon. If I A2'd her, she'd be amping even more damage against the boss. But she is an incredible bosser as well, if you're wanting to invest into World Boss. Now, you already know, if you were to come to me and say, hey, who should I invest into for World Boss? I'm like, you don't invest into World Boss. You invest into Guild Conquest, and then whatever you're using in Conquest is what you run over in World Boss. But you never just invest into World Boss. And she's not going to be that great in Conquest, I hate to say. That small area, when I used her in Xanaduce, it does not even hit the Heart of the Abyss, both of the crystals there. You would think it would, right? Like, she's a gemologist and all this stuff, and it's red and blue, her color scheme and her unique weapon, and like, you would think like it's implied that she'd just be like incredible in Xanaduce or something like that. But she wasn't hitting Xanaduce and both of the crystals with her S1 Light of Lubrance, or whatever it's called, Light of Lubery mode. Okay, she was only hitting either one of the crystals and Xanaduce, or both of the crystals and not Xanaduce, or whatever. So her DPS was in the toilet. The other thing I had to do as well, and this is something that's going to really only apply to whaled supports, is I had to literally cut every single one of my supports attack in half, because Fallen Frey's at 1.2, 1.3 million there. Ray is at 1 million attack. Priscilla's at 1 million attack. Adi is at 650,000 attack. Like, it's insane. Like, all my supports have so much attack. In order for her to get Ab Crown and all the buffs from Priscilla, and to get Soul Link from Lav, like, I had to cut all my supports attack, which is weakening the hell out of them. So unless you got this girl at 1 million attack, she ain't gonna do very good as a DPS in bosses, and that's an expensive ass DPS to be spending a bunch of money investing into, when there are heroes that can do just as good, if not better, than Talisha in the World Boss content, which, again, let me reiterate, is a pointless thing to invest in. And you're not going to use this girl in Velk because she can't hit all the caskets. So she's pointless there. Now, as a support, who are you going to replace? Who are you going to take out to put her in as a support? Yeah, she brings heal. Yeah, she brings a 60% damage amp, just a straight up blanket damage amp if you have her at a 5-star unique weapon and you have her A2. But who the hell is she going to replace? Pris is better than her as a support. Lav is better than her as a support. Hell, Ray is better than her as a support. I put her in Xanadu last night in place of my A2 Ray, and my score went from, and this was just in my test runs before I A2'd Priscilla, my score went from 63 trillion with my A1 Pris that I was using at the time down to 40 trillion. So it's a huge drop. Now, again, she was an A2, so maybe it would have gone back up closer to that 60 trillion mark. Maybe. I doubt it, though. Ray just brings so much stuff to the table. She not only is bringing the heal and the mana that Talisha is bringing, but she's bringing cooldown. And she's bringing a 75% PDAM amp with her spammable S2 when perked for 25% PDAM amp. And then her soul weapon is a 50% attack amp for all, which I don't want to get into where that all scales over at, but you get the point. And it's a 50% PDAM amp for all. So, Ray versus Talisha, yeah, I think even if she was A2, Ray would still be better than Talisha as an amp in almost everything. So she's only going to probably, as far as the bosser is concerned, be good in the world boss content, which is a pointless thing to invest in her for. If you're going to invest in her, you're investing into her for Eclipse. But I know a couple of you were asking, what about her boss potential? Yes, she has boss potential. If you can get her over 1 million attack, where Fallen Frey and Ray and Audie and Priscilla aren't snagging all of the buffs that she needs to get maximum damage potential, then absolutely she is going to be an incredible bosser. But you got to invest so much into this girl to get her to be able to boss. And for an NPC, it just doesn't make sense to invest in her for that purpose. Of course, if you did invest into her for the purpose of Eclipse and then used her as a bosser, that will be disgusting. She and the world boss, especially Mountain, and I even think Protan, which I'm going to use her in Protan as a support. That may be a really good place for her, just because of the stun that she brings. Replace Ray and put her in Ray's place. And even though Ray actually does bring good CC and all that cooldown, I would rather have him constantly in a knockdown phase, taking gobs of damage and keeping my otherworldly sword stacks up, where I'm not losing all my buffs. Not just otherworldly sword, all of them. I'm not losing them. So that's the key to a high score in Protan, is keeping him stun locked. And Talisha has incredible stun. But you can't stun Lack, you can't stun Tiphys, you can't stun Velk. So it's kind of pointless to think of her as having a home in GC, which would mean boss-wise, she's only going to be good in World Boss, which is stupid. So if you're again going to invest into her, you're investing into her for Eclipse, and then she just will destroy in World Boss as well. So, you know what? I'm going to address this as well. I've been facing her a couple of times in PvP. She may be really good in PvP. She may be really good in PvP. I have not tried her in PvP yet. I don't think I would bring her in her current form to PvP versus what I already have for PvP purposes, but she may be really good in PvP as well. I do not recommend investing in PvP heroes, just like I don't recommend investing into World Boss heroes. I recommend investing into Conquest heroes first and foremost, and then using those heroes in PvP and in World Boss. And since she doesn't really have a place in Conquest, you would be investing into her for Eclipse. But you already know how I feel about that. That wasn't a priority for me. If it is a priority for you, then you may be able to wreck with her in PvP as well. And of course, you'll be able to wreck with her in World Boss. So she has a lot of uses. She does have a lot of uses. But you got to ask yourself, do those uses outweigh the heavy investment required to make her reach her full potential? And that's up for you to decide. I've shared with you my opinion, but I personally think it's worth just doing a slow burn on her. Get your Vero up first. She's the most important NPC behind Juno to get leveled up in the game. So in that order, Juno, then Vero, and then I would actually say that this girl dethrones May as the number 3, bumps her down to number 4, and she is, because of her Eclipse capabilities, worthy of being the number 3 NPC to invest in. Then I would say it would be May, then Loman, then Nikki, then Kane, taking up probably a tie with Gladdy. Gladdy's almost exclusive. I mean, he's capable of being a bosser, but why? Come on, why would you invest in Gladdy unless you're just obsessed with PvP and that's all you want to do? He is amazing there, but that would be my order of where all the NPCs fall. Juno being number 1, of course. So that's my follow-up. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Iceman Alpha Real Time out.